Liverpool target Alexander Isak makes decision as Newcastle starts transfer talks. Newcastle striker Alexander Isak has decided against attending the Professional Footballers Association's PFA award ceremony on Tuesday, despite being nominated. Alexander Isak made a decision. Newcastle's forward, Alexander Isak, has decided to give the Professional Footballers Association's PFA Awards Gala a miss, despite being in contention for a top honor. The Swedish international, who has been nominated for the Players' Player of the Year award, is rumored to be staying away amid speculation about his future. Isak has allegedly informed Newcastle that he has played his last Premier League game for the club, even though the Magpies have rejected an offer from Liverpool. A fresh bid from Liverpool could be on the cards before the transfer deadline, but Eddie Howe's club is keen to secure 2 more forwards before sanctioning any departure. On Tuesday, it emerged that Newcastle has opened talks with Wolves over a deal for Jurgen Strand Larsen, who could potentially replace Isak in the starting 11. Isak is one of 6 contenders for the Players' Player of the Year award, alongside Bruno Fernandes, Alexis McAllister, Cole Palmer, Declan Rice, and Mohamed Salah. However, as per BBC Sport, Isak had not confirmed his presence at the awards ceremony barely 24 hours prior to its scheduled start time on Tuesday. Salah is widely expected to win the award after firing Liverpool to the Premier League title. Last year, the coveted award was won by Phil Foden at the ceremony held in Manchester. The England international, who had just helped Manchester City clinch the league title with a career-best 19 goals, accepted his award in person. Isak is up for the top award. The BBC's report suggests that previous winners and nominees have often left it late to confirm their attendance. However, the broadcaster also quotes unnamed sources, suggesting that Isak does not plan to attend. Isak's performances last term left him highly sought after during the early stages of the summer transfer window. The striker concluded the season with 23 league goals and 27 across all competitions, both personal records helping Newcastle secure Champions League qualification. Liverpool's opening offer was turned down by Newcastle. The forward remains intent on departing, however, and was omitted from manager Howe's matchday squad for the Premier League curtain raiser against Aston Villa. "I hope it's resolved quickly because it's news around us all the time," Howe told TNT Sports following the scoreless stalemate at Villa Park. "Players have managed to shut that out and perform. We have to continue to do that. We have to cope without the narrative against us." Newcastle's next game happens to be against Liverpool at St. James's Park. The Reds didn't face significant difficulties finding the net in their opener, with new signing Hugo Ekitike scoring in a 4-2 triumph over Bournemouth. Ekitike was among the forwards on Newcastle's radar before his switch to Anfield, but the club has alternative targets as it prepares for Isak's potential departure. Brentford's Yohan Wissa and Paris Saint-Germain's Gonçalo Ramos are both under consideration, with either capable of arriving on Tyneside before the transfer window closes on September 1st. Alexander Isak's private Liverpool transfer feelings emerge amid exact valuation gap. Latest Liverpool transfer news as Alexander Isak reportedly remains set on an Anfield move, while a gap in evaluation for Marc Guehi emerges. Alexander Isak could still arrive at Anfield before the end of the window. The focus has turned to next Monday for Liverpool when they travel to Newcastle United. The ongoing uncertainty surrounding Alexander Isak and the Reds' interest will be the backdrop to the showdown as he looks set to continue his spell in the cold after being dropped at St. James's Park. Arne Slot's side have already had one bid rejected for the Sweden international after the Magpies robustly turned down the £110 million offer. Liverpool got off to a winning start against Bournemouth on the opening day, but their attacking options are in need of reinforcements, with the responsibility immediately heaped on new arrival Hugo Ekitike. The Frenchman has 2 goals in as many competitive matches for the Reds, but with Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez among those to leave the club this summer, the Dutchman faces a growing desire to add reinforcements in attacking areas. But the end to Isak's saga appears not in sight. Alexander Isak makes Liverpool transfer feelings clear. Journalist Fabrizio Romano has reiterated his claim that Isak has made it clear that he only wants to join Liverpool. Interestingly, he mentions how the 2 clubs are up against each other next, and the suggestion that they may re-enter negotiations after the showdown at St. James's Park. Isak has been banished from Howe's side while the uncertainty clouds the conversation. Romano said, "The reason is that Alexander Isak only wants to play for Liverpool. Alexander Isak only wants to go to Liverpool." Alexander Isak, every single time Newcastle, their board, management, or Eddie Howe approached him in recent weeks over a new contract, the answer from the player was, "I'm not going to sign a new contract. I'm not interested in a new deal." Even when Isak offered the opportunity to include a release clause so he could leave in 2026, the clear answer was always the same. Alexander Isak doesn't want to change his position, only Liverpool. Now we expect the two clubs to recover negotiations, but as always, Newcastle have to find a new striker. They're looking for a new number 9. A factor in this story is that Alexander Isak is in the middle of the two clubs. The next game is Newcastle versus Liverpool. This is also part of the story and why the two clubs are on standby. Then these clubs will try again for Alexander. Gaps separating Liverpool and Palace over Marc Guehi transfer. According to The Independent's Miguel Delaney in his newsletter, Liverpool and Crystal Palace remain £10 million apart in the valuation to sign Marc Guehi. The two clubs have been in talks over the defender with the Premier League champions, keen on strengthening the heart of their defense. Guehi poses as an opportunistic signing for the Reds. As he enters the final year of his contract, and aged just 25, he has over 100 appearances in England's top flight. The journalist claims that the transfer chiefs at Anfield are not budging over their offer of £35 million, with the FA Cup holders said to be insistent on a £45 million deal. Liverpool. New improved Isak offer revealed as Reds face double hijack blow with transfer certain. Liverpool reportedly face missing out on Alexander Isak. According to reports, a new bid has been lodged for Newcastle United star Alexander Isak as Liverpool face missing out on two top targets. Liverpool have made a significant statement this summer as they are currently the biggest spenders in Europe, having invested around £290 million on signings. Hugo Ekitike, Florian Wirtz, Milos Kerkez, Jeremy Frimpong, and Giovanni Leoni are their most notable additions, though they remain in the market for further signings before this window closes. Despite paying around £80 million to land Ekitike, the Reds remain interested in dream target Isak, who was not involved in Newcastle's 0-0 draw against Aston Villa on Saturday after training alone. Isak has made it abundantly clear that he wants to leave Newcastle for Liverpool, and recent reports have indicated that Arne Slot's side will return with an improved offer when their Premier League rivals land a replacement for their prized asset. Presenter Richard Keys has gone against the grain to boldly claim that Liverpool have raised their bid for Isak after having a proposal worth around £120 million turned down earlier this summer. However, Keys also claims that Liverpool face being hijacked by Real Madrid for Isak, though this is purely speculative at this stage. I heard today, last Friday, that Liverpool have made a bid of £110 million. A second offer of £80 million now and £60 million next season, Keys claimed. Take your pick, but I've also heard that Real Madrid might be in the frame. And I can't believe he would have gone out on the limb that he has without being fairly certain that he will be gone before the window closes. Liverpool have also been heavily linked with Crystal Palace star Marc Guehi, who has entered the final year of his current contract and could be sold for around £40 million. While Liverpool could wait to sign Guehi on a free transfer, it has also been claimed that they could push through a deal this summer amid reports linking Ibrahima Konate with a move to Real Madrid. However, caught offside are reporting that the Reds face a hijack threat as Serie A giants Inter Milan have joined the race to sign Guehi. The report claims, in Italy, Inter Milan are carefully monitoring Guehi's situation, even if they were not expected to make a formal approach this summer. Sources close to the agents industry have informed Caught Offside that Inter's leadership duo, President Giuseppe Marotta and Sporting Director Piero Ausilio, have already communicated to the players' representatives that Guehi is firmly on their short list for 2026. If the 24-year-old center-back does not leave Palace in this window and ultimately runs down his deal, Inter will be ready to swoop with a lucrative free agent offer. Crystal Palace makes telling Marc Guehi decision amid Liverpool transfer talks. Liverpool is set to continue talks for a potential transfer for Marc Guehi, with Crystal Palace's decision ahead of its Premier League opener against Chelsea speaking volumes. Crystal Palace defender Marc Guehi. The future of Marc Guehi remains up in the air, but it's clear just how highly the Liverpool target is still rated by his current club. The defender has been selected to start Crystal Palace's Premier League opener against Chelsea today, having also captained the Eagles to the Community Shield against Arne Slot's side last weekend at Wembley. The decision to start the England international may come as a slight surprise to some, given the speculation around a potential exit from Selhurst Park has grown over the last week, and it seems Liverpool won't be deterred by Palace's continued reliance on him. According to BBC Sports' Sami Mokbel, the Reds will recommence talks over a potential transfer for Guehi on Monday. With just a little over 2 weeks to go until the summer window closes, time is running out Palace to secure a fee for the defender, with his contract expiring next year. Yet that hasn't deterred them or manager Oliver Glasner from continuing to select him, with his situation seemingly a far cry from the one facing Newcastle and Alexander Isak. The fact that Palace's boss would willingly risk Guehi picking up an injury and jeopardize what could be the last chance to receive some money for him speaks volumes about just how important the 25-year-old is to the Eagles, even at this early stage of the season. Liverpool has been in talks over a potential transfer for Marc Guehi. Eberechi Eze's inclusion has also raised eyebrows, given he is being increasingly linked with a move to Tottenham, with Glasner apparently keen to keep hold of his biggest stars, Palace chairman Steve Parish, though might be a little concerned, especially in the case of Guehi, having admitted last weekend that the defender would likely have to move on this summer. For players of that caliber to leave on a free, it is a problem for a football club, Parish said. There is no doubt about it, unfortunately. Liverpool set Alexander Isak deadline after transfer agreement. The latest Liverpool transfer news and gossip, including updates on Alexander Isak and Marc Guehi. Alexander Isak is admired by Liverpool. Liverpool have reportedly set a deadline for a move for Newcastle United striker Alexander Isak. The Reds have been long-term admirers of the Sweden international and appeared to have been handed a boost in their pursuit this summer. This came after the bombshell that Isak had informed Newcastle of his desire to explore his options. He has since been axed from Eddie Howe's team and was the subject of a £110 million transfer bid from Liverpool. With Newcastle adamant he is not for sale, despite Isak's apparent insistence that he will never play for them again, the Reds' hierarchy are, as things stand, not preparing a second offer. That said, Arne Slot's side are reported to have set a deadline. According to journalist Sasha Tavaleri, Liverpool have told Newcastle that if no agreement is reached by next week, they will move on to other targets. Isak was not part of the Newcastle squad for the 0-0 draw with Aston Villa earlier on Saturday. Meanwhile, the Mirror suggests that the Sweden international has earned himself a punishment through refusal to play, while TalkSport add that even if the striker is not allowed to leave this summer, he will still refuse to play for the club again. Elsewhere, club officials are said to still be working on a move for Marc Guehi of Crystal Palace. Providing an update on his YouTube channel, Romano claimed that conversations are ongoing with Palace after reaching an agreement with the defender. On Liverpool, I insist they are still working for Marc Guehi, Romano said on YouTube. There's still a conversation ongoing with Crystal Palace. Still a conversation ongoing with the player side because the agreement with the player is okay, from what I'm hearing. Still waiting to see what happens, club to club. But Marc Guehi wants to go to Liverpool. If it's not now, it's going to be in the future. Liverpool, dangerous Guehi outcome revealed in new plan amid two reasons for fresh timeframe. Crystal Palace captain Marc Guehi and the Liverpool badge. According to reports, Marc Guehi's proposed move from Crystal Palace to Liverpool is set to be delayed, as a dangerous outcome to this saga is mooted. The England international has been heavily linked with Liverpool during this summer's transfer window, as he is one of the best center-backs in the Premier League and among the most valuable footballers who could become a free agent in 2026. With Guehi unlikely to pen a new contract, it has been suggested that Crystal Palace are open to cashing in on the defender, though they have remained bullish on their £40 million asking price. Liverpool are this summer's biggest spenders in Europe, with the signing of 18-year-old defender Giovanni Leone taking their investment to around £290 million. Arne Slot's side have turned their attention to strengthening in defense as they wait on Newcastle United outcast Alexander Isak, with it suggested that they could sign Leone and Guehi before the summer's window closes. Liverpool arguably have room for each player following Jarell Quansah's move to Bayer Leverkusen, while Ibrahima Konate is attracting interest from Real Madrid ahead of his contract expiry in 2026. Despite this, a report from Football Insider claims Liverpool have a new plan for Guehi, as this transfer is likely to be delayed by 12 months. The report claims there are two factors to ensure that this is the likely outcome of this saga. Football Insider revealed on the 15th of August that Liverpool had reopened talks with Crystal Palace for Guehi as they try to negotiate a transfer fee, but the Eagles have refused to renege on their £40 million price tag. Liverpool have added to their defensive stocks by signing 18-year-old Giovanni Leone from Parma, and sources have told Football Insider that this could potentially see their move for Guehi delayed by a year. Football Insider's Peter O'Rourke has explained why this is dangerous for Crystal Palace. Liverpool have another center-back now, with Giovanni Leone moving to Anfield from Parma, a young player, O'Rourke told Football Insider. I don't think that will stop Liverpool pursuing this move for Guehi, but it's a dangerous one for Palace because Guehi is more than happy to stay and see out his contract, and that might suit Liverpool. They can look at it again next summer and take Guehi on a free, and for Guehi himself, it's a big season ahead. He won't want to move from Palace if he's not guaranteed first-team minutes. If Palace do drop their price tag, then maybe Liverpool would decide to push through a deal for Guehi.